name's Colton Dudley.
And I'm Jill Dudley.
And we both started coming to New Covenant in the spring of 2022. And we kind of made this our regular church-going place. We weren't super involved in any other way until one day Erin Prince turned around and introduced herself to us and said, "You guys are new, you need to get plugged in somewhere, so let me introduce you to a couple." And that couple was Travis and Mandy Bruno.
So we started going to Better Together, that's the Sunday school name, and it was really cool just to be welcomed so big. And I'm normally somebody that doesn't like to meet new people. It freaks me out a little bit, but they were so welcoming there that like very fast it felt like a church family and a church home rather than just a church that I go to on Sundays, which is a big deal for me. So, I mean, right off the bat, love our Sunday school.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the first time that we were pursuing God on a consistent basis, and we had a community behind us that was encouraging us to dig deeper, to learn more, and to be more obedient. Another cool thing that happened because of this is we received a notification from the church's app that said there was a Guatemala mission trip info meeting. And the very first thing that I did was I texted Gillian and I said, "Hey, do you want to go to Guatemala this summer?" I knew nothing about this trip at all, but we decided to go to the meeting to check it out, and Travis and Mandy turned out to be the leaders of this trip. But Guatemala was something that God laid on our heart and provided us a way to get there. I told Jillian, I was like, we're not going to put any of our own money towards this. If God wants us to be there, then He'll provide a way, and He did. And so regardless of what obstacles were put in our way, we were able to go, and it forever changed our lives. So after our first experience in Guatemala, we knew that we were going to be coming back. We left part of our hearts there the first time, and so whenever it came time to start assembling our team and growing our team for the next trip, we were super excited for that. Whenever we touched down in Guatemala, both of us experienced this without realizing it, but it kind of felt like we were coming back home, and that was a strange feeling to experience for being our second time to be there. We got to listen to Mike Clark's testimony. He's the guy that started CASA, and in that process, like, God showed up in such deliberate ways in his life. It seemed like his roadmap to get to CASA, to fulfill what he is meant to do in his life, was very clear for him, and that was amazing to hear. But for us, we kind of struggled with that because we felt like our calling's been a little bit more ambiguous. And then the following day, we met a guy named Adam. And so both of us had an experience at Adam's place, which overlooks a valley. And it's supposed to be an amazing view. But of course, whenever we were there, that view was completely covered in fog and clouds. And so we could not see anything. We just had to take everyone's word for it. But God showed up in a big way in that moment. While Adam was sharing his decision to move to Guatemala full time, I was having this dialogue in my head where I was talking to God, and I said, "God, I need you to clear the fog from my head. I need you to make your path clear for my life." And in that moment, the fog cleared for a little bit, and we were able to see a glimpse of this beautiful view, and then the fog rolled back in. And so that was one of those moments where I just kind of was taken back by myself, and I was like, "Okay, God, like, we'll see where this goes."
I remember praying, like, what's holding me back from having these big testimonies or knowing my calling? And for me, it was my social anxiety, which I think now it's like a common theme, even back to when I first started coming to church. That's what's always held me back, is having that social anxiety, not wanting to meet new people or try new things. And so that was kind of my main word for the next couple of days while I was there. But then my community, my team, they gave me the verse 2 Corinthians 12, 9 through 10. And just to summarize, it's just talking about boasting in our weakness. If you claim your weakness, you're able to use God's strength through that. As soon as I was able to name that fear, name that weakness, God gave me like a direct job, an opportunity that like contradicted that. And I ended up having to stay alone in a dorm with a bunch of high school girls that only speak Spanish. And I had to do that overnight, and I had to do that without my team. And that opportunity came up literally, I think it was the next day after me expressing my issue with social anxiety. And it was one of those things that I did not want to do, but I knew that was God literally saying, "You said you wanted a sign, you wanted guidance. here it is, and I knew that I had to say yes. And it ended up being an amazing experience. And I knew then, like, I was able to give God my weakness, and then He used that, and I had strength.
And so having that experience and sharing that with our friends that we've made here has been amazing to see God work through every step of the process. And so we highly encourage you, like, if you feel a little nudge, lean into it, because God can do some amazing things whenever we're obedient and we listen to Him. So thank you for letting us share our story with you. If you want to learn more, we're always here to talk.
Mm-hmm.